When a family experiences the loss of a loved one, whether it's expected or not, the family members really lean on the funeral home and the directors to get them through the process. And there are so many elements to that process that you probably never thought of, especially true following the death of a military veteran. It's comforting to know that the team at Edwards Funeral Home are ready and able to help guide you through the unknown. Funeral Director Beth Buxton joins me now to explain some of the benefits that veterans and their families are entitled to after death. Beth, nice to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And so many things I think that these veterans families don't know. Let's start with what here in Franklin County some of the vets and maybe their spouses or other family members are entitled to when it comes to the funeral process.
Sure. Franklin County veterans and their families are entitled to a few things. What families need to remember in Ohio is there's no state benefit that I'm aware of, but it varies county to county.
Okay.
But in Franklin County, we help families every day apply for benefit. They are entitled up to $1,000 of credit towards burial or cremation if they qualify. They'll help a family that's in need. County benefits usually are for the veteran themselves, a spouse, dependent children, sometimes disabled children if they're disabled before a certain age, and even dependent parents. People don't realize that if they're taking care of a parent, sometimes they qualify as well. There's living benefits as well as death benefits, so it's worth the phone call for a veteran to make that call to the Franklin County VA and talk to them specifically about what they qualify for.
And what you mentioned, this is Franklin County only that you're familiar with because this is where you work, but you do know it's different around the state.
I do. I've worked in other counties. I've applied for veterans in other counties, and they have obtained benefits, sometimes more than what Franklin County offers, sometimes less, sometimes nothing.
Really?
It varies. It really does. And veterans do so much for our country. It's just a shame that sometimes there's nothing in the county for them. Now, federally, most veterans that are honorably discharged, even sometimes generally discharged, can apply for a benefit. Their survivors can apply for benefit and sometimes do qualify for some credit towards a paid funeral or paid cemetery property if they opt not to go to a national cemetery.
You said that the family has to prove need. Is that the case in most cases, or just because you are a veteran with an honorable discharge, you are automatically eligible for some sort of payment?
Typically, it's by need in the county as far as county level. There has to be an income versus what the expenses of the veteran were, but on the federal level, many times it is an income base. There is that standard you get back. Usually it's a $360 is what you qualify for towards your funeral expenses, $360 towards your cemetery expenses, and you can always check out va.gov to see if that's changed and apply there as well.
Does this work for all military, Army, Navy, all different types, as long as it's U.S. military? Sure.
All the branches are eligible. Reservists sometimes are not. Coast Guard sometimes not. It's worth the phone call to check with the local VA or even the federal level. We help families every day with this. As long as they have a discharge, then we can at least look at their discharge paper, see how their discharge is, honorable or general, see what time they've put in the military. That's changed. It used to be just if you were honorably discharged, sometimes general discharge, you could get into a national cemetery, for example. Now they even look at the length of time you stayed in the military to see if you qualify.
Oh, wow. So they've gotten a bit more strict?
They have. In the past year and a half, it's become more strict. But we still help families with that. We help them with everything. As long as they can sometimes plan some of this in advance, it makes it so much simpler, especially getting that paperwork, because I've had families want to apply for this and they don't have their discharge paper. I try to find it through the county level at the VA. If the county has nothing, I have to apply at National Personnel Records in Missouri. That can take 2 to 4 weeks.
Well, we know that sometimes these things do take longer. It's a process.
It is.
And they can do some of these things, though, ahead of time, even way before someone, gets sick or has passed away, like any other kind of pre-planning?
They can, and they should, because if you go ahead, a veteran could take their discharge paper and record it at the Franklin County Recorder's Office. That's a great resource. It's free to do. It allows the family at the time or the funeral director at the time to find that documentation needed to apply for benefit. If they don't record it there, they should at least contact their funeral home of choice, get a copy to us, because if we don't have it, then there's that 2 to 4 week window we're waiting to make arrangements, because the family may be depending on those monies.
This is all great advice and something that people don't always think about, again, Beth, until that time when they really need to, and a little pre-planning, like anything else, is very beneficial.
It is. It really is.
Beth, thanks. Nice to have you.
Thank you.